Good day, and welcome to Zoyols News. I'm Michael Reed. The impact of the conflict in Lebanon is reaching far beyond the region, with some American citizens now facing the loss of homes and property amid the ongoing hostilities. Their experiences highlight the growing humanitarian and financial toll of a conflict that continues to affect families from around the world. I'm Michael Reed. The news begins now. Family videos recorded before the conflict show a large multi-story home with traditional stone architecture, decorative balconies, red-tiled roofs, and a spacious courtyard where relatives gathered to celebrate special occasions. One of the recordings, taken during a family engagement celebration, captures scenes of music, dancing, and relatives coming together in what was once a vibrant family home. Those images now stand in sharp contrast to the current condition of the property. According to the family, the home was destroyed in an airstrike on May 9th. The incident occurred during a period when a ceasefire was expected to reduce hostilities, although reports indicated that military operations and cross-border exchanges continued in several areas. The destruction has left the family without the home that had served as a gathering place for generations. Their story reflects the broader humanitarian impact of the conflict, with many families across the region reporting the loss of homes, property, and treasured memories as the violence continues. Images captured after the incident show extensive structural damage to the building, with several sections of the home heavily affected. According to the family, they had left the property 3 days earlier, after ongoing security concerns and frequent military activity in the area made it difficult to remain there. They said they later learned about the damage through neighbors. The family is among several American citizens who say their homes have been damaged or destroyed during the conflict in Lebanon. The Israel Defense Forces has said its operations are aimed at military targets, while the broader conflict continues to affect civilians and residential communities across the region. According to a June assessment by the United Nations Development Programme (UNDP), renewed fighting that began in March resulted in widespread damage to residential areas, with thousands of homes reported to have been affected. Although a ceasefire was announced in April, military activity continued in parts of southern Lebanon, and the security situation remained uncertain in several communities. As conditions evolved, many American citizens chose to leave the area, while others remained to manage businesses, care for family members, or stay connected to their homes and communities. Some residents, including Anwar Gaida from the town of Hasbaya, say their properties have been damaged on more than one occasion during the conflict. Authorities continue to assess the extent of the damage as recovery efforts move forward. One incident at Anwar Gaida's property received international attention after several journalists lost their lives while staying at a bungalow on the site. Gaida said he believes the location was intentionally targeted because some of the journalists worked for media organizations associated with Hezbollah and others that have been described as pro-Iranian. The journalists were among a larger group covering the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah in 2024. Gaida said the property was affected by another strike at a later date. While he believes the first incident was deliberate, he said the second may have been unintentional. The circumstances surrounding both incidents remain the subject of international scrutiny, with continued calls for independent investigations and accountability.
Gaida says the second attack hit the wedding venue's kitchen area while it was empty, but wiped out equipment and furniture and financially ruined his business. By March 25, the venue was already struggling as conflict drove away weddings and even reduced journalist stays at the guesthouse. He says online images of the bombing make guests hesitate to book, but he won't leave because his family is still in Lebanon and he feels he can't restart at 60. Despite the ceasefire, he reports hearing Israeli drones overhead at night from his home in Hasbaya. Lebanese Americans say southern Lebanon has never been this bad, even compared with the 2006 war or Israel's 1982-2000 occupation. They claim homes that survived past conflicts are now being lost as tactics intensify, with soldiers razing villages while seizing territory.
Reports from the area describe extensive damage to civilian infrastructure, including places of worship, pharmacies, cafes, repair shops, and residential buildings. Images and satellite analysis reviewed by several news organizations appear to show large-scale demolition and clearing operations in parts of southern Lebanon. Much of the reported damage is located within a security zone near the Israel-Lebanon border that is currently under Israeli military control. The situation has led many residents from nearby communities to leave their homes, with displacement continuing to affect families across the region. Israeli officials have said the operations are intended to address security concerns and remove infrastructure they believe is linked to Hezbollah. Meanwhile, United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk has called for an end to the military occupation of affected areas, and urged all parties to protect civilian property and comply with international humanitarian law.
In the US, the Arab American Civil Rights League in Dearborn is preparing a civil lawsuit on behalf of Americans who lost homes, arguing the government must protect US citizens and property overseas. The case seeks compensation and calls on Congress to divest US aid from Israeli units linked to the destruction, representing about 180 families including retirees who returned to Lebanon to rebuild on ancestral land. Mohammed Fayyad Raider says he left a stable life in the US, retired, and built a home in Yarun using local stone and brick. His border village is now occupied by Israeli forces, and with no access allowed, he monitors his property through satellite imagery like many displaced residents.
Reeder said the demolition of buildings in his hometown continued after the ceasefire took effect, and described the damage as widespread. According to him, only a small number of structures remain standing, which he believes were used for military purposes. His account reflects his personal observations, and has not been independently verified. Rader also said the scale of the destruction has raised concerns about the future of the area, and whether residents will be able to return in the near future. Having lost his home, he has since relocated to Florida, where he is now living with his children, while hoping conditions will eventually allow displaced families to rebuild and return.
Rader also describes the destruction reaching even the cemetery, calling this conflict fundamentally different from past occupations. U.S. Army veteran Jihad Samhat echoes that view, saying previous occupations still left a community presence in his village of Ainada. After years working in demining with the UN and later running a music venue, he fled back to the U.S. with his family as fighting escalated. Watching from abroad, Samhat says satellite images showed his home standing one week and gone the next, reduced to dust. For families outside Lebanon, the changing images have become the only proof of what was lost.
That is the latest on the challenges facing American citizens affected by the conflict in Lebanon. We'll continue to follow developments and bring you verified updates on the humanitarian impact and the broader situation as it evolves. For more breaking news and in-depth coverage, stay with Zoyols News. I'm Michael Reed. Thanks for watching.